I'm going to read the last chapter, really, to my book. I haven't even been able to sit down and read this. But, okay. So this is right upon my release of my 3 year and 8 months spent in prison. I'm now at Franklin County Pre-Release Center. Okay. So it's January 2011 is when this is. So I give Jamie her space as I have grown enough to know that light attracts light. And if you are being positive and productive, those meant to be on your same path will eventually come to you. I'm working out and establishing a few relationships with some friends from home that did actually stay in contact with me while I've been doing my time. I need to get a stay out of prison for good plan. And Christy's death and those words that our pre-release prison warden had said to us was sinking into me. So I began to apply for church housing and halfway house programs that came to the prison to interview inmates with no family to live with once they were released. My family at this point was talking to me, but they did not want me to live with them. To my family, I was still a big risk in all sorts of ways. My family wanted me to prove before they opened their hearts to me that I had grown. But I had grown up big time. I'm only human, and there were issues to be resolved. I still had some growing up to do concerning the situation with my babies being adopted out to foster care while I was in prison. I had some resentments left, but I had grown up. Today, I accept that I am the solution to my own problem. But back then, it was still sinking in. And I was mad that my family did not fight for my children harder than they did. I knew that I was the reason I ended up hanging out with some people and making all the wrong choices that led me to prison. But I could not get out of or to a place of peace yet concerning my children. I trusted that I was meant to get well in prison and that my children would be returned to me somehow through God someday. I believed, wrongly as it turned out, that my children's adoption could be overturned when I came home. I did not kill anyone. I did not do irreversible harm to another. I went to prison for a crime that I did not, in my opinion, commit. And I programmed the entire time I was in prison. So surely a judge or even a foster parent would help me bring my babies home. That was where my head was and my hopes were when I was released. Well, the people from the halfway house and church homes called us into the office at Franklin County Pre-Release Center and had me fill out paperwork. And then they interviewed me. I was motivated to get into one of these homes and to prove that I could be on my own and to work my own, that I could be on my own and to work my own way to my own place with a little support from people on the outside, a little encouragement. I thought that I had nailed those interviews that I did with the churches and that they would accept me no problem. A few days later, I got the news that I had been denied. Denied? Why? Where would I go? I didn't want to go shack up with some guy or old people to fall back to old people ways and things, old people places and things. My family had already made it clear I was not living with them when I was released from prison. I was in total dismay and panic. I was being released any day. Why was this happening? The church people said this was for returning citizens like me that loved God and were willing to follow God's principles. Have no men in the home, stay sober, go to Bible study, and that was exactly what I wanted and needed to do. I wanted to get on my feet, on my own 2 feet. I prayed, and then I called my family. They could not believe I'd been turned down to these halfway housings, and they blamed me, saying that I probably didn't try hard enough to get into the houses. I wanted nothing to do with being enabled anymore. I wanted to stand on my own 2 feet. If my parents chose to help me with some clothes and things to get me started, that would be nice. But I wanted to have my own job and my own better life. I did not wish to live with them or anyone else, but I felt I wasn't having a choice. I was going to have to go to a homeless shelter. Everyone coming back into the prisons were telling us that the homeless shelters were filled with drugs and crime. So I was panicking. I finally called my friend Rob that I knew in high school. He had said that I could come live with him. My probation officer found out that Rob was a shooter, not a shooter, he was a hunter. He had a gun, and the probation officer said no, that plan had fallen through too. Eventually, I finally did get my mother to agree to have me come live with her until I could get on my feet. So, as hard as it was to do, I did do that. I humbled myself, and basically I went from there. It's weird reading this the first time since it's been